Okay, hi folks. This is take number 2 because I didn't have my mic on the last time. I want to start off with a little short story. Around 1900, 1910, 1920, so a guy named Frank Galbraith, and he was an industrial engineer, and he designed a system of motion study when they were assembling things on assembly lines, and he came up with Galbraith 10 different terms for when you're putting something together. You're 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 visually locating where the part is. You're putting your hand on the part. You're grabbing the part. You're picking it up. You're screwing the nut on. Anyhow, each one of these little things were called thurbligs, which, if you spell Galbraith backwards, it spells thurbligs. Anyway, I grew up on this book. Um, Time and motion study fascinates me, much to the detriment of the people that work for me sometimes. We're always trying to figure out the quicker, better, faster, more efficient way of organizing the workplace and building things. But but you might know about this guy because there was a book written by two of his kids, Ernestine and Frank. And the two kids, I think this was definitely after he had passed away. They wrote a little bitty book, 1920, 25, and the name of the book was Cheaper by the Dozen. And there's been at least two movies made of it. The original one with Clifton Webb and Myrna Loy, I think it was the best one. It's the old one with the black, it's black and white. But the only reason I bring this up today is because I didn't turn my mic on. And in the book, I don't know if it's in the movie. Ben, is it in the movie where they're doing the tonsillectomies and they have their cameraman cranking the old
I think it's in
16
the original
millimeter
book,
camera,
or in the original movie.
and so he wanted video film of this so he could do his whole time and motion study on surgery, on how you can make the surgeries go faster. And I think he even volunteered to have his tonsils removed as part of this whole thing too. And so when they got through all these 12 kids, and I think they yanked 12 tonsils plus the old man's that day, somebody noticed that the lens cap was still on the camera, and so he yelled at the cameraman, "You're fired." And the cameraman said, "I'm not fired, I quit." So Ben told me I was fired today for not turning on my mic. So anyway, sorry for the little digression into storytelling. This is a prototype that one of our customers wants, and so we're selling it to them. It was a pain in the ass to create. It's basically a grout machine, but we made it to where it can convey hot mastic. So we're going to run through just the basic grout machine startup, shutdown, and things you need to know about running the back chassis here. So I'm just going to start with the very important green light that we get calls all the time about. It's not moving. I step on the pedal and it's not going anywhere. Well, is the green light lit? What green light? Oh, we broke the green light. Blinking green light means it's not satisfied. There's no button in the seat, or the pseudo e-stop button here on the floor is pressed. It's not happy, or the forward and back foot pedal is not centered. It won't go if you try to start it up. I mean, you start the engine, but it's not going to go anywhere if you start this up with, giving it a command. So this green button tries to enable the hydraulics. And if you push the green button and the green light goes solid, that means that, yes, the hydraulics are enabled. But I'll show you. I just hit the pseudo e-stop button. This just kills the hydraulics. It doesn't actually put on the brakes, but you will come to a stop pretty quick if you hit this foot switch. Okay, so I'm going to push on that pedal and push the green. See, I can't enable it. It won't. There, now it's happy. So that's just a little fail-safe mechanism we've got in here. The real reason we put it on it because these normally have a cement mixer on the front or a grout mixing agitator, and I don't want anybody around that thing unless there's an operator in the seat, because it could cut your arm off if you got your arm. You lifted the lid and put your hand in there when it was mixing. We just don't want this thing to move or mix if there's not an operator in this seat. So that's the number one thing. Number two thing, startup. So Ben, show where the choke and the throttle ought to be.
I typically start throttle halfway, choke halfway, and then as I'm cranking, I run the choke back to nothing.
Right.
That's
And then when you were actually out working this machine, you give it full throttle, right?
typically, yeah.
Or close to it. So it should start right up. On the side, this is the hydraulic tank, and on the side here's a gauge for the hydraulic oil, and it's got hydraulic oil in it. Here's the fuel gauge, and here's the fuel filler for the fuel gauge. You might recognize this if you have a motorboat. It's actually a motorboat flap on the exhaust to keep water from getting up in the exhaust, but we put it on there because, you know, those of you that are running the grout machines, the specks of grout get all over the place, and on another brand, this thing quickly gets to the point where you can't even read your fuel level. So we thought we'd at least try to fix that. So is that everything about the commonalities between this and a regular grout machine?
Yeah.
Except for the towing release. Occasionally these things break down, and it's a hydraulic transport system. So if the engine's not running, it doesn't want to turn the wheels. As a matter of fact, that's how its parking brake is the fact the engine isn't running. It might move 6 inches if you park it on a hill overnight, but it's there's no flow, there's no movement. But if you need to push it, load it up, whatever, you need to make it move in an emergency, you get you a long extension and a 15 millimeter socket. It's at least 6 inches. Stick it in there, get it on that bolt, one full turn, and you can push it around. Push it, tow it. Just go slow, don't go far. It's enough to get it on a trailer, basically. And then if you turn it back, it'll kind of lock it up, and you still should. You gotta chain these things down no matter what. There's some holes here to chain it down to your trailer. Okay, so that's the common elements. The non-common elements. All right. Pain in the ass. This is a hopper for Mastic. And it's wonderful stuff. Okay, so that's the hopper for it. There's a heater under it, and the whole hopper, as well as this auger to fill it, as well as the chute to dispense it. They have these heated hot oil jackets, and anytime the engine is running, this pump is turning. This is the hot oil pump. That's the motor that turns the hot oil pump. And the need for the hot oil pump is to heat up this auger and to heat up that chute. You've got to get it all hot before you can use it at all. Now, don't ever park this thing full of mastic, okay? Unless you want to spend 4 to 6 hours the next day twiddling your thumbs while it all melts.
If it's full, it's going to be longer than that.
More than that, 8 hours maybe.
It could be.
Yeah, we made that mistake once. Okay, because we had blocks of mastic, and we just threw them in there and let it cook until it's not made for putting blocks of mastic in. It's made to drive up behind your mastic trailer pot, fill it up, and then go put it on the street. Okay, and definitely make sure you don't leave any in there unless you just like waiting around and burning propane. So let's talk about the propane burner a little bit. Well, let's talk about the dipstick. It has this. It's a special heat transfer oil. You can get it from Maxwell, same people that make the best mastic. Okay, and here's dipstick, and Ben's going to put a better thing, but it needs to be basically full. But it does expand. Okay, if you fill this sucker clear full when it's cold, you flip on the heater, it's going to be puking out. I think we've got puke out tubes here on this.
On the front, we do.
Yeah, it's these expansion. There's one right there. Expansion tubes. So this is going to be blowing oil all over the floor if you get it too full. So that's why it's kind of important not to overfill it. And it's also probably a really good idea to check its level when it's hot. And you refill it with heat transfer oil in the same hole that the dipstick's sitting there rattling around in. So that's that's how you fill it up. Oh, so the burner. The burner was a pain in the ass to create. I don't know how many different burner configurations we went through and igniter configurations we went through. Trying to get something that will always fire up, always light, always burn. It's pretty reliable now, but man, I'll tell you, I built all kinds of tube burners and geez, I don't know. What do we end up with underneath there?
It's
It's one of those turkey pot cooker burners?
no, it's like T-shaped thing with little orifices in it, and 3 tubes.
I'd have to crawl under and look at it because we really tried a lot of different things.
We did.
We bought burners. We made burners. Anyway, this one works. Turn on the propane, and then you just have to. Now, these switches here, we're gonna put a different sticker on here because the mixer turns on the mixer, right?
Yeah.
And does it turn on the auger too?
It does. Yes. If the mixer's
Okay.
on, the auger's on.
Okay. So, oh, you want it in the middle, but
Yes.
you want it off.
Middle is off.
So middle is off. You want to make sure, otherwise it's probably going to kill the engine if I.
It could. You could also shear the key in that motor, and it could shear the key in the chain
So
drive.
very important. Make sure the mixer is off when you start it.
Yeah, don't mix until it's hot.
Yeah. Now vibrator is not vibrator. Vibrator. Turn the key on. Now, if you note, the first thing you'll notice, we left all of our gauges on here for development, but it's actually kind of cool to be able to see the flow. I think. If we turn on this switch, electric valve down here should open, and it should start flowing fuel. There we go, fuel. And I heard it just light.
Yep.
It just lit right up.
Go down and show
Now,
the burner.
This can blow out in high winds. We actually took it down the freeway all the way to Salt Lake City one day, back of a trailer, because it was one of those days where we didn't think to heat it up early enough in the day. And it made the whole trip, and it was still burning, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't count on it at all. Not at all. So, what have I missed? The temperature. You want the temperature to be at least 350. I would say strive for 400.
Yeah.
It tapers off once it gets up above 300, though. It's
You really want it like 375 before you start
deploying.
you start mixing.
Yeah. And it takes a while to get there. So, gosh, I can't think of anything else.
Hand valves.
Hand valves, yeah, these are the same as the grout mixer. Okay, so this will lift up the whole chute, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one will lift the gate that controls the grout or the mastic coming out. You want to set that to where it's not overflowing the chute, but you're not running out either. And this is a side shift, a feature our machine has that others don't. So if you're getting off center of your cut, you can just bump it over 4 inches either way, rather than steering. Now this thing steers with rear wheels, like a motorboat and a rowboat. No, not a rowboat, but a motorboat or a forklift. Takes a little while to get used to. You throw somebody that's used to a Ditch Witch Zon CM1 grout machine, and they're going to hate it. They're going to tell your supervisor, this thing sucks. I don't want to drive it. Okay, that's the first week. The second week, he's going to stop complaining. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I like it or not. The third week, he's going to say, hey, that thing works pretty good. I can go a lot faster on this than I can a Ditch Witch Zon. It's just somebody that was a skateboard rider, and now he needs to learn how to ride a unicycle or something. I mean, or maybe the other way around. It's not the same. And people who are good at running the Zon, and that's hard to do too. That's more like a unicycle. I remember the first time I got on one because my guys weren't going fast enough to suit me, and I'm like, I'm going to show you how this works. I had all of maybe 30 seconds seat time by then. I jumped on that thing, man, made the biggest mess on the street. Got the gate too far open, and it overfilled the chute. It was a mess, but anyhow, gosh, I think that's about it. You think of anything else?
The skid plate.
Oh, let's look
this.
down in the skid plate. Let's look down in the chute first. You see that whole area down there is a big hole in the skid plate, and that's for like the maximum amount you'd ever want. We can make that smaller. We can make the chute bigger if somebody really needs to put down more, but don't ever let the skid plate wear out, because the skid plate is protecting this heated jacket. And if you start running the heated jacket right on the street, it's not going to be very long before it's ruined and leaking oil and all of the good things that come with an oil leak on the street in the middle of a job. So that's about it, folks. Oh, I just noticed. Oh, this switch right here. Come on over. Forgot to talk about this switch. This is my favorite switch. You get going down a certain rate down the street, you just flick that on, and you take your foot off the pedal. Now, I thought that people would get it all set up, get it dialed in, get their gate set, filling a trench full of grout, and dialed in. They just flick it up and they just sit back like this. That's not how the customers are using it. They use this when they want to get this machine from this job site to that one 3 blocks over. So they just give it full throttle and flick the cruise control and sit back and take the ride. But anyhow, that's this. If this is on, will it enable?
It might enable, but you can't drive.
Let me see. Let me see if it enables. I know you can't drive because I think Frank locked that out on software. Yep, so it enables.
It'll enable, but you can't drive.
But this is directly the motion control unit, right? And yeah. Frank is looking for that when he's initializing. Yeah, we manufactured the circuit board that controls all these motions. My other son Frank wrote the code, controls all these motions. So we're pretty vertically integrated. I haven't started making our own engines yet, but maybe someday. That's about it, folks. Take 2. Am I still fired? Such a good son. Chuck and Ben.